Loving platoonians, this is Zoom Lens 3, and I remain Jones La-Nibetle. I'm not trying to trouble still waters, but to give a bird's eye view report of the rescue administration so far. First things first, congratulations to the rescue team for hitting a year in office. I also want to use this medium to commend the governor and his team for seeing to the full accreditation of courses at the Plateau State University and for committing to the completion of inherited and abandoned projects. For looking into the revival of the Jos main market, the Pandam Games reserves, amongst others. I would like us to ponder on some excerpts from Governor Lalong's inaugural speech of May 29, 2015. Governance is not about glamour. There is no problem faced by us, which hard work, honesty and courage can't solve. That day to many of us was a day when hope was restored, when a new course was set, and more so as the governor laid concrete emphasis on reducing the cost of governance, looking inwards and even wowed some of us by saying he will not move into the multi-billion naira Little Royfield government house due to the high rate of poverty among civil servants and unemployed youths in Plateau. Now, after a year in office, all those perceived spirited commitments have become mere political platitudes. Your Excellency, you have apparently forgotten whom the 2015 Guba victory belongs to. At least we thought it belonged to us, the ordinary Plateau people. Be reminded that based on political arithmetic, you were not the favorite candidate, not even a part of the metrics, according to some. The rescue mission started not with enough money or endorsements, nor did it have the best strategies. Let me state clearly that your journey to Little Royfield was not hatched in Port Harcourt or Abuja. No, it began in offices of grieving unpaid civil servants, football viewing centers, backyards of parents who couldn't afford children's school fees or WAEC registrations. Voting you in, Mr. Governor, was not the change we clamored for, but only an opportunity for that change to be made manifest. You can only see and enjoy that change when the rescue team, our legislators and judiciary summon a new spirit of service and sacrifice. We have to disabuse the notion that governance is an opportunity for wealth accumulation, as is customary to this state. It's no news that the people of Plateau so far are desperately unhappy with the rescue administration. But why? We castigated the Jang administration for showering our state's resources on its family and associates, which amongst other issues brought an abrupt end to our political romance with the PDP in the state. Unfortunately, in less than a year, the so-called rescue administration is manifesting those same symptoms. We have been inundated with rumors of houses purportedly procured by our rescue pilot and his siblings in Jos, Abuja, and even a failed attempt in Dubai, amongst others. Exotic automobiles are what define Governor Lalong's administration. The governor's convoy has about 30 super expensive automobiles, apart from those given to principal officers and those procured by the governor's family members and associates. The governor has already expended over R1 billion on cars. Our state number one has in less than a year traveled at least 6 times out of the country to Brazil for about 2 weeks, Dubai with family, China, the United States, Israel for prayers, amongst others. All those trips on the state taxpayers' money. Aside from the foreign trips that are on first-class tickets worth millions of naira per trip, our governor hardly spent a week in the state without traveling to Abuja or other states. And as Senator Theodore Orji spilled out recently, each trip by a governor outside his state costs the state 35 million naira. No wonder. There are also concrete rumors that the rescue administration is receiving a 20% commission on all road projects as precondition for awards. Is that why most of our monies are expended on road construction? It's also no news that the rescue administration has, inside 1 year of being in office, borrowed at least 19 billion naira from First Fidelity banks, amongst others. With all the loans and bailout funds, there's nothing to write home about. Salaries and pensions are still unpaid. Where's the future? This administration came on board with a perceived drive for boosting our internally generated revenue and reducing the cost of governance, which we welcomed. However, the opposite is the trend. Instead of a turnaround and streamlining operations, The Rescue Administration is busy establishing new agencies in the state. The Peace and Conflict Bureau, the proposed Bureau for Statistics, amongst others. I don't see how these can lead to reducing the huge cost of governance in the state. We voted the so-called rescue team to rescue us, to move us from dystopia to utopia. But this team is doing clearly the opposite and has gone further to officially disconnect itself from the masses. Look at the so-called 2016 budget of rescue and hope. 1.5 billion naira for completion of the Little Rayful Government House, our Oga vowed not to move into last year. 400 million naira for remodeling Governor's Lodge at Abuja and Lagos. 700 million naira for renovating and furnishing the State House of Assembly complex. And 100 million naira for the purchase of vehicles for House members. 750 million naira in the name of security vehicles and gadgets. 500 million naira for the installation of security equipment at the new government house. 280 million naira for the construction and furnishing of the protocol lodge at the Haipang Airport. 158 million naira for the rehabilitation of the just completed Plateau State Internal Revenue Service office. The billions earmarked for street naming and house numbering, amongst others. Elephant projects. Show me where this is people-oriented. Now it's crystal clear who the rescue team is out to rescue. I can't fathom why it took the governor almost forever to assemble a cabinet that is one sandwich short of a picnic, a clear definition of a political compensation, a perfect example of the blind leading to blind to drive the state. With the exception of 2 to 3, the team lacks technocrats. And even the assignment of portfolio must have been done without any serious assessment or via a raffle draw. Be reminded, Your Excellency, that we lambasted the immediate past administration in the state for silently recruiting through the back door people of a particular ethnicity into the state civil service structure. Unfortunately, we're smelling that already in the State Universal Basic Education Board, the Plateau State University, the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, amongst others. We are also fully in the picture of how the residual banking system of the Plateau State Internal Revenue Service is run, as well as the gargantuan pay packages of some chief executives. With all this, I'm forced to say that the rescue administration's body language is that of rationalizing the status quo of corruption and elegance. Nowhere close to instituting change, talk less of rescuing the oppressed and poverty-ridden Plateau people. Obviously, we're under the leadership of people who would rather see us suffer than succeed. It's only logical that extreme situations occasionally call for extreme measures. Governor Nasiru El-Rufai of Kaduna State came on board, declared publicly his assets, reduced overhead costs by 60%, cancelled the state's sponsorship of pilgrims, slashed salaries of self and team. He reduced the number of ministries from 24 to 13, all as part of measures to rescue the state from what he defined as a precarious financial situation. Kaduna State had a burden of 74.3 billion naira when he took over, which is 3 times Plateau's. He took radical steps to reduce the cost of governance, show up internal generated revenue, block all revenue leakages. Governor El-Rufai went further to hire Mrs. Ofoike, a former FIRS chief, as a consultant to Kaduna State government on revenue generation. He moved all medical personnel of the government house to public hospitals for better healthcare service to the people, and even cancelled private hospitals for self and family. The governor has held at least 6 town hall meetings already. He convened the Kaduna Investment Forum. El-Rufai's government has partnered with Dangote Group for a tomato agro-industrial project in the state. Olam Group is already building the largest poultry and feed mill facility in sub-Saharan Africa in Kaduna State. Governor Rufai has contracted Stallion Group for a 10,000-hectare rice farm in the state. He has created 2,300 jobs for mathematics and science teachers and over 100,000 jobs already in the free school feeding and uniforms program, all inside 1 year. Some people say it's unwise to compare Plateau to Kaduna, that Kaduna is richer. I beg to disagree. Administration and management is about positive and progressive comparisons. If Kaduna is richer, why are they more austere than Plateau? Manifestly, the rescue team does not interpret our situation as extreme. Despite our vehement protests and opposition to the way this administration is mismanaging our scanty resources, the ostentatious display of wealth by the bigwigs, their families, friends, and opposition allies is still ongoing. It's pitiable and absurd how the political class are identified by the display of exotic automobiles and new buildings and parties. Leadership in Plateau is defined by materialism. This administration is a working validation of all what the naysayers said it would be. Unemployment and poverty are on the increase. Drug abuse, car thefts, and phone snatching are the order of the day. Even our security agents are not left behind in institutional robbery. But is the rescue administration even in the know? Responsible and responsive leaders must understand deeply the hurts and bruises, joys and struggles, and aims and aspirations of their followers. Nonetheless, all hope is not lost. There's still time for amends. The rescue team should, as a matter of urgency, take measures to bridge the white trust gap that exists and to be frugal in all areas, as well as take radical steps beyond lip service to boost our IGR. Let me use this platform to re-echo the need for the rescue team to look into the thousands of buses, cars, and cycles procured by the past administration in line with the subsidy reinvestment program. They were allegedly loaned out to unemployed youths with guarantors, but no form of repayments have been made on the gift items. Also, in a bid to reduce unemployment and poverty, as I opined last year, the government in the state should reconcile and bring back the MTN call center to Jos. This administration can diversify our economy and boost our IGR by identifying and filling gaps. Just recently, the Minister of Trade and Investment revealed that the country imports 150 million tons of concentrated tomatoes, worth 170 billion naira annually. That is a gap Plateau must strive to fill, as we have the best tomato in the country. Erisco Foods has built a plant with a capacity of 450,000 tons in Lagos. Dangote has one in Kano State and is working on one in Kaduna State. Why are we lagging behind while our youths are languishing in poverty and unemployment? Plateau is blessed with good rice, especially at the southern zone of the state. Why not partner with the likes of Stallion Group to add value to them right here? We have a priceless climate that allows us to cultivate Irish potatoes, strawberries, broccolis, cucumber, name them. But our hardworking farmers are in a cesspool of poverty because government in the state has only paid lip service to agriculture. Farmers dedicate their energy and resources on their farms, but end up selling their produce below costs or watch them perish. Why? Poor government policies and corruption. And you sit in the comfort of your air-conditioned offices, calling on youths to go into agri-entrepreneurship with no safety nets. Poultry farmers are not left behind in this mess, as they lose hundreds of thousands of birds to flu attacks with no shock absorbers. It's heartbreaking that Olam Group is setting up the biggest poultry and feed mill facility in sub-Saharan Africa in Kaduna State and not Plateau. Despite our climate, eggs from Plateau are the most sought, but we lack a government that recognizes the opportunity that abounds. The state governments can partner with the likes of ShopRite and other retail giants for supply of eggs, broccoli, strawberries, potatoes, and so on after value addition. That will create jobs. You don't have to travel to China to make that happen. Similarly, Plateau has a strategic advantage in power generation. The government in the states can partner with private investors to work on Kura Falls, boost power generation and supply. That will lure industries to the state, create jobs and boost our IGR. But that clearly isn't on the agenda of our rescuers. Sadly, tourism on the plateau is nothing more than a political jingle. We have untapped tourist heavens that can be an attraction to the world, but we have added no value to them. Even the building that houses the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Corporation speaks volumes. The state government can substitute tarmac for interlocking tiles in road construction for minor roads in the city. That will go a long way to reduce costs and will serve as ground for entrepreneurial training that will breed self-employed youths. The then Governor Ahmad Maazu of Bauchi did that in his state over 10 years ago, and that explains why people move from Jos to Bauchi or Abuja for the procurement and installation of quality interlocking tiles, even when we have other materials here. Quarrying is another area that can change the dynamics of this state. We can export gravels to the south-south region of the country, or better still, partner with some southeastern merchants to set up industries for tiles and granite in the state. The rescue administration can also capitalize on traffic offenses. Driving in Jos is almost suicidal. The government can set up a traffic management agency with a 24-hour surveillance at strategic locations. That will restore orderliness, create jobs, and boost our revenue. Waste management can create thousands of jobs and increase our revenue generation capacity. The Plateau Environmental Protection and Sanitation Agency and JMDB are in a state of comatose. We have to take advantage of recyclables. Property taxation with a working Plateau Geographical Information System can change the story of Plateau. Many people own 10, 20 and so houses situated mostly around the refill area, usually under lock and keys.
Let them pay just 1% of the house value annually as tax. Let it be a law in the state. Though this might be unacceptable to many Plateau people, Plateau is a hub of alcoholic beverage consumption. The brewery industry last year contributed 3% to the country's GDP. Why are we just consumers? A public-private partnership can be vehicle to revamp the JIB for jobs and revenue. Coincidentally, Plateau from 1999 to date has had 3 R's: the Reengineering, Redemption and Rescue administrations of Governors Darie, Jang and Lalong respectively. The Reengineering and Redemption governments have left us poorer and more divided. And here we are with the rescue team whose first year is a so-so, middling and unexceptional. This is not the time for golfing or buying more automobiles than we need, nor is it the time for gallivanting around. This is the time for our rescue governor to put on the garment of transformation, take risks that your predecessors were not willing to, step on toes to bring about justice, restitution, restoration and comfort for the poor. This is the time to rewrite the story of Plateau. This is the moment we must do away with sycophancy and mediocrity. This is the time to focus on the Plateau people above self. In conclusion, Your Excellency, the pen to rewrite the history of Plateau State is in your hands. And as you go about it, remember, as the good book points out, a good name is better than silver or gold. Finally, my Plateau people, everyone can define problems, but it takes people with vision, passion and insight to be a part of the solution. There is no wisdom in wishing and praying for this administration to fail. In the words of Governor Lalong, let's bring our ideas together to rescue Plateau. God bless Plateau State.